This is the first installment of a series I'll do once or twice a month, time permitting, on an otherwise forgotten saint. My hope is to make one or two of these a month that are about 5 minutes or so in length, and I want to do that because we often hear a great deal about some saints, while many other inspiring saints often get overlooked. So to that end, I bring to your attention the life of who some call the patron saint of nonviolence, Saint Moses the Black. Now a note, his title, the Black, is a sort of literary reference, not a reference to the color of his skin. It's a common error people make. For example, my favorite interpretation of the alleged prophecy of St. Malachi comes from Protestants who think that the reference to a black pope means that the evil pope of that alleged prophecy will be African, when as a literary device describing someone as a black figure points out that they are an agent of corruption or a villain, like a black knight. The racial inference from those words is purely a modern linguistic construct, but, again, Protestants. So there, with that out of the way, I present to you the life of St. Moses the Black. He was sometimes called the Ethiopian. He was a slave of a government official in Egypt who dismissed him for theft and suspected murder. He became the leader of a gang of bandits who roamed the Nile Valley spreading terror and violence. He was a large, imposing figure. On one occasion, a barking dog prevented Moses from carrying out a robbery, so he swore vengeance on the owner. Weapons in his mouth, Moses swam the river toward the owner's hut. The owner, again alerted, hid, and the frustrated Moses took out some of his sheep to slaughter. Attempting to hide from the local authorities, he then took shelter with some monks in a colony in the desert of Skate, near Alexandria. The dedication of their lives, as well as their peace and contentment, influenced Moses deeply. He soon gave up his old way of life and joined the monastic community of Skate. He had a rather difficult time adjusting to regular monastic discipline. His flair for adventure remained with him. Attacked by a group of robbers in his desert cell, Moses fought back, overpowered the intruders, and dragged them to the chapel where the other monks were at prayer. He told the brothers that he didn't think it Christian to hurt the robbers, and asked if he should do what he should do with them. The overwhelmed robbers repented, were converted, and themselves joined the community. Moses was zealous in all that he did, but became discouraged when he concluded that he was not perfect enough. Early one morning, Saint Isidore, abbot of the community, took brother Moses to the roof, and together they watched the first rays of dawn come over the horizon. Isidore told Moses, "Only slowly do the rays of the sun drive away the night and usher in a new day, and thus only slowly does one become a perfect contemplative." Moses proved to be effective as a prophetic spiritual leader. The abbot ordered the brothers to fast during a particular week. Some brothers came to Moses, and he prepared a meal for them. Neighboring monks reported to the abbot that Moses was breaking the fast. When they came to confront Moses, they changed their minds, saying, "You did not keep a human commandment, but it was so that you might keep the divine commandment of hospitality." Some see in this account one of the earliest allusions to the Paschal fast, the end of the Lenten fast from Holy Thursday through Easter Sunday, and the Paschal fast is thought to have been developed at this time in history. When a brother committed a fault and Moses was invited to a meeting to discuss an appropriate penance, Moses refused to attend. When he was again called to the meeting, Moses took a leaking jug filled with water and carried it on his shoulder. Another version of this story was him carrying a basket filled with sand. When he arrived at the meeting place, the others asked him why he was carrying the jug. He replied, "My sins run out behind me, and I do not see them, but today I am coming to judge the errors of another." On hearing this, the assembled brothers forgave the erring monk. Moses became the spiritual leader of a colony of hermits in the desert. At some time, he had been ordained a priest. At about age 75, right around the year 407, word came that a group of renegades planned to attack the colony. The brothers wanted to defend themselves, but Moses forbade it. He told them to retreat rather than take up weapons. He and 7 others remained behind and greeted the invaders with open arms, but all 8 were martyred by the bandits. The lives of St. Moses the Black and St. Norbert contain some interesting parallels. Both lived rather dissolute lives in their younger years. Both had conversion experiences in which they heard and heeded the call of God. Both were leaders in their respective religious communities. Both are known as men of peace, having spent much of their ministry calling people to reconciliation and forgiveness by word and example. So thus is the life of St. Moses the Black. honored by the Catholic Church, the Coptics, and the Eastern Orthodox. And while the Church does teach that violence is at times necessary, it has become so prevalent in our day that an example of a saint like St. Moses the Black should give us all pause about the necessity of violence, so that when confronted with those unpleasant times, we may act in accordance to the will of Christ.